Look, there's no arguing 5.56x45 is one of the most powerful calibers in Escape from Tarkov. Whether it be the M4, the ADAR, the HK, or any of the other ARs in this game, the round can be really nuts. And the best part is that recoil can get really, really low with insane fire rate. But this caliber actually saw some recent changes in 12.10, so today we're going to be talking about those changes and the new bullet that got added, the SSA AP, and how good is it really. Before we get in the video here today, I do want to remind you, I do stream on Twitch and all these videos are filmed live on my Twitch, so the link for that will be featured in the description below if you want to watch me making these vids. For the ammos, we're going to be testing a wide variety of ammos against Armour here today, starting off with M855, 56A1, 55A1, M995, and last but not least, SSA. Now, I know there are some new ammos and we are going to be touching on those, SSA AP and also MK318 SOT Motto. I know it's a mouthful, but we're not going to be testing that ammo here today because it only has 21 pen and 65 damage, which is pretty rubbish. And we are going to actually be testing SSA AP with 56 pen, which is pretty nuts, and 36 damage. There were a few changes to the caliber, but the main one here is going to be M855 pen got reduced from 30 to 28. Now for armor testing, we will be testing a wide variety of different armors from level 3 all the way up to level 6 with multiple different types of material types, as well as level 3 all the way up to level 6 helmets and visors. Starting off here today with the entry round for 5.56 and the minimum that I would recommend, M855. I'm curious how this ammo actually performs now with that 28 pen, and the first thing we tested up against is a popular level 3 armor, Karasa. Now in the past, that actually would have been 2 shots to kill him in the chest, so it really is disappointing to see that M855 did get this nerf. M855, which I used to use a fair bit in the early game in the ADARs, which used to give me reliability against level 3, now also drops the ball very heavily against level 4. And level 4 is probably what the base of what you would be running into these days in the Tarkov meta, so M855 is a good round for beginners, but you really do have to hit them headshots. It is really annoying to see the ammo actually get this 2 reduced pen. To me personally, it doesn't make sense. But I feel like maybe they're giving people an incentive to use the other ammos. For 5.6A1, this is definitely now my beginner round that I would have to recommend minimum at 37 pen. Now this makes a huge difference in the 2-tap on level 3 and under armor, but it also performs a lot better up against level 4. You can see some of the best level 4 armors and also the most common, like the TV110 being brought down in 3 hits. Now 5.6A1 is a tracer and that's not a big deal for a lot of people, but I would recommend this minimum. As you can see, it brings down a core on about 5 hits, and the Gazelle, which has slightly higher durability, will be noticing that it actually takes an additional extra round here at 6. Now, it really starts to drop the ball when it versus some better tier armors here, like the AACPC, and it also gets worse when we look at something like the Killer Armor, which also is the same material type and durability as the AACPC. You can see we can stop up to 8 rounds, which is pretty nuts. That doesn't mean you are going to stop 8 rounds every time, but level 6 armor as well, the news doesn't get any better. And the entry level 6 armor here, the Hex Grid, stopping a whopping 10 rounds to the chest, which is simply, in my opinion, too many shots to the chest to recommend here. So if you are using 5.6A1, you will be noticing that a lot of the bodies here are blunt damage and all their armors are zeroed. So basically, you're just hoping to punch through with enough rounds or get lucky with a pen. But at this stage in the game with this ammo, you do want to be aiming for heads. That leaves us with M855A1, which is the step up here at 43 pen. Now this ammo is a lot more expensive on the flea, but you can start to understand why. Now the reason it's so expensive is any level 4 and under armors are a 2-tap. And you can already see how much better it is up against the level 5 armors, bringing a core run down in 4 hits. And we also got quite lucky here, bringing Gazelle down in 4 as well. The news didn't get much better here for something like an AACPC, which actually has a lot more durability. But 6 hits still is a decent amount, especially with the fire rate of the HKs and the M4s. Where 5.5A1 really drops the ball, in my opinion, is level 6 armor. And this is some of the most common late game armor here, especially if you are using endgame M4s. if you happen to run up against someone who is wearing some of these different types of level 6 armor, and especially the slick plate carrier, the news is quite bad. So ultimately, why is 55A1 so much more expensive than 56? The proof is in the pudding here, guys. Level 4 armor is way more consistent. 5 as well in level 6, even though it doesn't look as great, that is a lot better than 56A1. However, the price between the two, I would still recommend 56A1 as a budget round here, but that consistency in the level 4, which is a very common armor, is a good incentive to run 55. What about M995 with 53 pen? Now, this is a really weird round, and a lot of people don't trust M995. But the truth is, with M995 these days, the round costs about the same as 55A1, and a lot of people seem to like 55A1 over M995. Now, I'm not sure, a lot of these rumors come from things like 995 apparently goes straight through people and doesn't hurt them and so on and so forth. Now, people think that M995 with 40 damage is going to 2-tap some of these level 5 armors. However, that's actually incorrect. The thing you need to realize is some of that damage is absorbed by the armor, and the likelihood of it penning actually determines how much damage it does. And if we look at the two side by side here, we will notice 995 is a lot more consistent in the lower tier, but it doesn't 2-tap level 5 like it should on paper, and that is because of that damage reduction. But you are going to be noticing it is going to be a 3-shot pretty much on every level 3 armor in the game, with sometimes rare exceptions of 2. As for SSA AP, this thing kind of looks like 338 Lapua AP, but it has 56 pen, but that damage, 36, isn't too great. Now, the first thing you need to understand is if you're running up against something like a ceramic level 6, you're in for 3 hits. However, a lot of the time, you aren't going to bring your enemy down, especially if they're wearing level 6 armor, in anything less than 4 hits. And it doesn't really get any better when we work our way up to something like a Zabralo, which has way more durability to work with and more armor to absorb that damage. This is actually really important. How much flesh it has actually really lets this round down. You are going to be noticing that 9.5 actually outperforms on the level 3, 4, and under, and basically anywhere in between. Now, the difference comes in level 6, and especially when we're looking at something like consistent hits on the same part. Bringing that durability down, especially with that higher pen, gives SSA a guaranteed chance to go through on around 3 or 4 shots. Now, the news doesn't really get that much better in visors and helmets. I did want to point out that I didn't purposely test M855 here today because unfortunately after those nerfs, a 28 pen, I mean, if you can't go through an SSH or a fast MT visor in the first shot, in my opinion, is not an ammo worth using unless you're going for the legs. That's why we started off here with 56A1, and we got some good consistency on the level 3 and 4 armor. We got quite lucky with the ULAC, but it really drops the ball with the more expensive helmets. However, that's not really a big deal, especially if you are going full auto. Now, this is where I believe the money of 55A1 comes from and why it's expensive. It's because of that 40 pen. It gives us consistency on stuff like the ULAC, or, you know, some of the most common level 4 armors, as well as stepping up its game against insane level 5 helmets like the Fast MT plus a slap. Now, something like a Bastion will slow it down, but these helmets are quite rare. That's why 55A1 is trusted and used across the board. That mixed with the fact that it has very high flash is why it's a popular favorite within the community. Something like M995 is once again a lot more consistent on most helmets, especially level 5. Now, this is noticeable that it doesn't actually one-tap the head when it says it probably should, and this is because of that reduced damage once again. Now, 9.5 across the board feels really good on a lot of helmets, really totaling nothing higher than 3 rounds to bring someone down. However, with SSA, we start to notice some weird behavior, and especially in the level 5s, we could not get a single one-shot on the head. And that is because of its lack of flesh damage, once again letting this round down. Although it is a really, really strong round in terms of pen, that missing flesh damage time and time again just didn't allow us to one-tap the head. That is because the head is 35 HP and 37 flesh is just simply not enough for this round. And that's why I'm having a hard time recommending it. So the purpose of this video wasn't to shit on SSA as such, but it's asking the question, is it really worth it? The difference between the two isn't really much, just the fact that SSA is a lot more expensive and it also reduces your accuracy. However, it does actually move a little bit quicker than its cousin 995, and that's why it's a popular favorite for something like a ADA or a TX15, whether you're going for shooter born in heaven and you just want that guaranteed pen. I did want to point out that 9.5 is still a little bit more enticing, especially because of that accuracy buff and the fact that 9.5 could give you a single shot to the head kill, whereas SSA, if it's level 5 armor, you're not going to stand a chance anyway. Hey guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this or found anything interesting in this video, consider subscribing. What do you guys think of SSA AP? Is it OP? Is it balanced? Or do you think it needs a little bit more flesh? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.